This is a recording I did with Bill Mattern of Goads covering the topic of maximizing results. He covers all of the following material in a quick and memorable way. And at the end of the presentation, I added a few pages of assessments and links to those assessments at the very end. Enjoy the presentation.
We're going to jump right into it. So, Bill, let's go into the Goads growth equation. And really, as they take a look at the picture that's up on the screen, where did this come from?
Actually, from our customers and from a lot of the things Goads was doing. That we looked at our business and we looked at a majority of the business from our customers and prospects and talking to them. And everybody, we just kind of lived. This is the world not only Goads lives in, but we just felt like this is the world a lot of our customers and prospects live in this world of a lot of it more is on the outreach side, but also on the inbound, customers coming to us. And then we're leveraging, we're using analytics, we're using our customers for referrals, we're using our prospects, reconnecting with them. So this really stemmed from what our business is wanting. And we're all after the same thing. I run a leads company, but I want the same thing that everybody else wants. I want leads, and I want qualified leads. So this came from just talking to customers and looking at my own business of Goads.
Okay, that makes sense. And I'm going to say, just as an aside on my own, I find this to be one of the most interesting, unique, and clear points of view on marketing and sales that I've seen. So with that in mind, let's jump into the first one. You're welcome. Let's jump into the first one. Let's talk to us about inbound. What do you mean when you talk about inbound?
Well, so we break it again into inbound outreach and leverage in our customer base. So when we look at inbound, customers calling us, future customers calling us, qualified prospects calling us, finding us, and we do it, and what we talk to with our customers about is maximizing the web and looking at the website. And so we want to make sure that our customers are maximizing their website and making sure that the website is actually being found.
Okay. And so does this go beyond the website, or is it?
Well, a lot of it is on the web. So what we're really doing is more so we're maximizing the web. But it could be pay-per-click, it could be press releases, articles, anything that we're getting out on the web.
Okay. And then
search engine visibility, we're leveraging Google, Yahoo, Bing, and again, anything that we can be found or our customers can be found online and having their prospects, qualified prospects, calling them.
Okay. And why do you think that is so important?
Well, number one, it's always good to be visible, and it's always good to have qualified prospects finding you, where you don't have this lengthy sales cycle.
Right.
And where you're, as much as a lot of our sales strategy is making phone calls, in the end, nobody really likes making 100 phone calls a day. And the ideal situation is when we can have a qualified prospect calling us and say, hey, you have this product, right, Greg? I mean, who doesn't want that?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So inbound, again, we're leveraging the website, we're leveraging the search engines, and we're making our customers visible.
Okay, and you've talked a little bit about how that works. I'm going to throw up this next slide there. This is some of the things that you do, but why don't you go into just a couple of those?
Yeah, the big thing is we start with the website, and so many times we built a website just because somebody said, hey, you need a website. But I don't know how many times we really put a plan in place of what's the purpose of the website. And so it is, unfortunately, it is not Field of Dreams. Just because you have it doesn't mean people will come. And so the website, right? People will see it. So what we want to do is we want to make that website visible. We want to make sure that website is front and center inside the search engines for search engine visibility. So we're doing content. We're writing content. We're active with social media. Pay-per-click.
I was going to say, you saw me about to underline this. This is a weird one for inbound. Why did you put this in inbound?
Well, again, pay-per-click is, if you have the budget or you want to test it, it's a great way to get immediate results of people again, typing something into the search engine, into Google, and if you can outbid everybody and your ad shows up and it matches what they're typing in, then listen, that's a great way to get people to call you. Our objective, though, or what we like to do when we have a number of customers who have pay-per-click strategies, we want to do everything we can to make them come up in the organic listings, which is free, as opposed to paying for every click.
Right.
You know, so and with organic, it's 24/7. You're once you're inside Google and once you're on page one and you're doing content and you're doing those things Google wants you to do, man, you're going to be in that page. You know, you're going to have that positioning, and you don't have to pay for that click when someone goes to your website.
Okay. What about? Do you have any examples to help us?
Well, on the inbound side, you know, the biggest example. Let's take the extreme. Let's take Amazon, right? I mean, you know, everything you type in anything in search engine, and Amazon probably comes up. They're probably selling it or leasing or doing something with it. You know, they're an extreme, but you know, I always kind of look to, so I don't get any other companies in trouble, I look at Goads. I mean, that's what a lot of our prospects and probably a lot of our listeners today they started out, they found us online. They typed in keyword, a key phrase, and they found goleads.com.
Okay. Let's jump into the next one. What do you mean when you say outreach?
Outreach is the traditional that we're probably all maybe a little more comfortable with, and that is direct mail, telemarketing. The newest one, you know, I don't know how new it is, but it seems like businesses are grabbing hold of it more, is email marketing. We are reaching out. Customers are not finding us, we're finding them. We have to go out and find those customers.
Okay.
And again, this is where a cycle can be dependent upon that strategy. It can be lengthy. And it's always good. This is still valuable. Prospecting in a traditional format is still incredibly valuable, and we'll get more into that we all want to be in balance in all of these things, inbound, outbound, and leveraging our customer base.
Okay. So when you're saying this is important because?
It's important because, number one, you have market penetration. You start with a finite penetration number of how many prospects do I potentially have in my market. Now, let me go out and connect with them. Let me go out and try to reach them and inspire them to call me back.
Okay.
You know, so it's important you're able to really hit this market.
Because you can target.
And you have maybe the funds to do the telemarketing, to do direct mail, whatever the case.
Families with children under 10, that kind of thing.
Businesses 10 or more employees,
okay.
right? Absolutely.
And what are some ways that you could make this work? I'm going to put a list up here, but why don't you pick a few of these?
Well, again, it's traditional, and whether we bought lists before, whether we haven't, we probably have a good idea, but it's through direct mail, targeting that list. It's through telemarketing, and you know, I see market analysis on that. You know, that's where we want to start. As opposed to just kind of the shotgun approach, let's target very specifically who we want to reach. And sometimes it's testing. Sometimes it's, hey, let's just test 500 names, 1,000 names. Let's group these. Let's have a message for this group. Let's have a message for this group, and let's see which one performs. Kind of A/B type testing.
Yeah. Now on that testing thing, from my past experience, we tested always just because it costs money, right?
But hopefully saves you money in the end.
Sure,
right?
But it was always that we had a finite budget to start with,
Yep.
And before it started generating income, we were always trying to test,
Right.
to get that stuff going.
Right.
What are some? Do you have any examples? Like you had Amazon for the last.
Well, you know, as far as the extreme, we all get the telemarketing calls, and it could be a call center. It could be. I mean, for the most part, I think most companies, a lot of companies are at least doing it, at least in the small to mid-size. We're seeing a lot of outreach. You know, again, email campaigns is probably one of the newest, especially on the B2B side, that we're seeing great results with.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you know, if you have a phone, everybody's pretty much at least trying the telemarketing side and prospecting. Right?
Yeah, right. The example that popped in my head as you were talking was I used to sell life insurance, and there was nobody calling us for life insurance. So
Right.
we
Right.
had the only way they were going to hear about us was we were going to call them, or at least the way it used to be.
Totally. Insurance companies are
Not that I'm dating myself.
no, and they're still doing it, and
Definitely
they should, and they know it works,
Okay.
right?
So these make sense. So inbound, getting people to call you, outreach, you call them.
Right.
So what's this next one? Talk to us about leverage. What do you mean by
Well, leverage is this third group that sometimes I think we forget about. And leverage is our database of customers, those who have paid us and have bought our product, as well as our prospects, those who we've spoken with, but they never bought, maybe because of something going on their end, whatever the case may be. And then it's the analytics. It is taking all this information about these people and retargeting, and we always use three things: connect, educate, inspire. We want to make sure we're always connecting with these people we've had conversations with. We want to make sure we're not always selling to them, but rather we're providing them information, we're educating them. And then hopefully over time, they are inspired, whether we inspire, whatever, and they act. When they are ready to act, that's when we want to be there.
Okay.
We want to be either in their head or we want to be physically present in front of them.
And then why is this important?
Well, number one, we've spent this money, and people who are either in the inbound or outbound world, which is, to live in those worlds, that's the cost of sales are high. In the leverage process, we've already spent this money to have this conversation. Mm-hmm. We've already spent this money to close. If you're a client, Greg, I've spent money to close you. Now it's how can I leverage you to, maybe it's referrals, maybe it's buying additional products, maybe it's a renewal. I already spent that money. I don't want to lose that. I've had this conversation. I don't want to lose that relationship.
Okay.
And again, something may happen in a month, something may happen in a year, even longer than that. We've certainly and certainly in our database, we have people who are still getting our emails. They have not paid us a dime, but that's okay. When they're ready, they're ready.
Right.
And when they are ready, we want to be there.
And so newsletter, and we talked about that, but here's some examples of that. Is there anything you wanted to point out on this list?
Well, again, we always go back to our three terms: connect, educate, inspire. And we always want to connect with them. We don't always want to be selling. And when you guys get our emails, though I bombarded you with this webinar, I realize. But hopefully our emails are educational as well and gives you something to learn about on the marketing and sales side and just market as a whole. But so we always want to make sure we're not just selling. And again, it's analytics. So we want to take your behavior. We want to take people who are on our site. We want to look at the behavior. What's the navigational patterns? Where do they jump off? Where do they land? It's looking at that information. It is, on the outbound side, on the outreach side. It's looking at what's the full market potential. How many customers do I have in this vertical? What's the total market of this vertical? What's my ROI? What's my penetration? It's looking at this. Am I profitable? Do I want to go after this market?
Right.
So it's taking this customer base. It's taking all this historical work that we do, and then bringing it in and looking at the analytics and where do I go from here, kind of a thing. Because it will help you in your outreach. It will help you on your website.
So getting smarter.
Very good. After all that, you said two words, and that's exactly what I said.
Nice. See?
Very good.
That's why I'm here. Now, do you have any examples on that?
Well, we have a client, which started out as this, and they said, "Hey, let's look at our customers. They were a publishing company, and they had a magazine, and so we looked at their subscribers.
Yep.
And we took them in, we bumped them up against our databases and things like this, everything we had access to. And when we do a market analysis or a customer analysis and a prospect analysis, we want to accomplish two things. The first one is we want to confirm what you already know. We all have an idea of who we're targeting. We all have an idea who would buy our product. All right, so the first one's kind of boring, but it is kind of nice to know, okay, I'm on the right path.
Right.
We want to confirm what we already know. The second thing that we want to do and accomplish in an analysis, in a customer profile, is we hope, and usually there has been, I can't think of a time there hasn't been, we want a wow factor. And so getting back to the example, the wow factor, when we showed this publishing company, here are the recipients of this magazine, and here's what they look like. Well, their entire recipient file or subscriber file was, over the age of 55, 60 years old, something like that. And it just, oh my gosh, we're about to lose our entire, I mean, it was dramatic enough. She literally called a meeting on every, say, we got to talk about this because our subscriber base is, there will come a time where they won't be worried. They won't need this publication.
That was interesting. So they had been
age was the big.
They had done inbound and outbound to build this file, and without even knowing, they were also aging this file out.
Well, and they knew their market was. They knew it in their head. They knew it in their head. We're kind of going after the the 50. They knew that market, but then when they saw it, they said, well, yeah, we're not filling any space. We're not filling it anywhere, and so all of a sudden, it shaped their strategy. Now, it didn't completely, revamp it, but all of a sudden, now 20% of their budget or something like that was, hey, we got to go after that 35 to 45-year-old market kind of a thing. Where again, it's just we've got to make sure that we're hitting this market.
Okay, very good.
Major League Baseball, right? They're losing this.
Yeah.
That would be an extreme.
Anybody who can sit there.
Exactly. They're losing traditionalists.
Right.
But I love Major League Baseball.
That's right. Go Royals.
Go Royals.
Okay, that's good. So let's talk about this. What you've been describing is each of those pieces individually. Now let's talk about how they all work together. And specifically, the way you had described it to me was everything works better when it's together. The first thing that popped up there was, let's say that there's inbound and out. So I'm doing well in inbound. I feel like my outreach is good, but I haven't been doing many of the leveraging activities.
Yeah.
I guess what's wrong with that?
Well, and you said it. You said it, in balance. What we're trying to do is play in all three areas because that's where we can, we use the word maximize. That may be a little strong, but I think at least we're maximizing the potential of our business. And so if we're living in just an inbound, outbound outreach, what we're doing is we're forgetting about, again, these customers and how we can leverage these customers and prospects. And so our cost of sales can be high because what we're doing is we're spending money to receive that call and we're spending money to find those customers as well. So if we're not living in this world of leverage and leveraging our customer base and prospect database, you will find that your cost of sales can be high. And you want to make sure leverage is always, I always kind of think the forgotten circle here, just because, we don't, when someone doesn't buy from us right away, what are our steps? Are we okay with that? And if we are, then how do we connect, educate, inspire over time?
Okay. Let's take the next one. What about outreach and leverage? So number 2 there.
Well, we're invisible, right? We're not helping ourselves by people. There is a huge market out there that wants your product, that needs your product, and if they can't find you, you're totally on an island that you have to go out and find that business. And with inbound, by adding inbound, all of a sudden you can be visible, and when someone needs your product, they will hopefully find you on the web.
Right, like you said, it's a short sales cycle,
and it's a much shorter sales cycle because now all of a sudden it's a qualified prospect. You don't have to. You're starting not at the top of the funnel, but you're starting in the middle, the bottom of the funnel here.
Okay. How about, and then we got the last one of 3, inbound and leverage, but you're not doing active outreach.
Here we are leveraging our customer base. We're getting calls. The problem with not outreaching, again, is probably more on the market penetration side. There's a huge market. We can't we can't, inbound won't bring everybody in. Leveraging our customer days won't bring everybody. There's still plenty of prospects to go after, to target, and that's what we need to do on the outreach side. And then secondly, it looks like, not in control. The thing about why I say not in control as well is we don't really know on the inbound side, especially, who's going to be calling. It's totally, yes, by, not only just by chance, it's not that dramatic, but we never really know the quantity, unless we have some historical, but even then, if you live in a world of paranoia, you never know if you're still going, your average 30 phone calls inbound or 5 or 10, are you going to get that every day?
Right.
You're not really in control of the market. It's more passive.
Seasonal retail or
something like that.
Yeah.
Where
you're just waiting.
You're just waiting and twiddling your thumbs sometimes. Hopefully it's not that bad. But so outreach is a great opportunity. Okay, I got to go find customers. I got to go talk to people.
Okay.
Right.
Good stuff. So, and then obviously,
man, when you're living in all three circles, when you're living in, and again, we say, maximizing results. Again, think of that as, okay, what can I maximize here? And just to be honest, we struggle with this. I feel like sometimes we're in this, even losing a couple people or, they resignations, whatever the case may be, sometimes we're out of balance. But I always think of this graphic. I always think, okay, what's our strategy on the inbound side? What's our strategy on the outreach side? How are we leveraging customers?
Well, and that's why this is a good time to jump into the case study, because when I brought up, can you run through a case study of trying to be in balance? You did come up with Goads. So why don't you?
Well, when we
kind of tell a little bit about your story through this.
Started 16, 17 years ago, and the whole idea of thinking, okay, this is going to start on the outreach. We got to go. No one knows us, so we've got to go out and we've got to be known, and let's go start talking to customers. Let's go start talking to, not customers, but let's go start talking to businesses of what we're doing and how we differ and telling our story. And what was interesting, we created a website. We did these things for inbound, not really planning on thinking that we're going to get a lot of inbound, but lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. We gravitated more towards the inbound just because we had great penetration on the web through Google, through certain keywords, through phrases, and we started getting more phone calls coming in, and talk about, again, imbalance. We shifted focus a little bit inbound, so we had to grow the outreach side, but again, it's always a challenge to be in balance of working in all three areas, but it's something that we have to assess on a regular basis of how we doing on the outreach side. Are we going after those prospects we're not currently doing business with, or that we haven't had a conversation with?
So since you've kind of worked through this infographic thing, right, whatever you want to call it, did you feel like things have gotten better?
Absolutely. The fact that it's always in my head, and now it's always in the heads of my employees. And what we're trying to do, it is set our marketing and sales strategy of again, I can look at inbound. I don't have all my eggs in basket. I don't have, I'm not just, not everything is reliant upon our outreach program. We always have inbound calls coming in. I always have a group reaching out to people, and I'm hitting as much as I possibly. Am I hitting everything? Absolutely not. And can I do more on the leverage side? Absolutely. But I feel like at least I'm always looking at how can I maximize my resources,
right,
and how can I maximize my infrastructure. I don't have an Amazon budget. I don't have, but I feel like I can maximize my dollar of where I can put the dollars best and put, find customers.
You had mentioned in a previous conversation that it made you less afraid to make investments.
Well, what's great about it is it's helped me look at, especially in the leverage world, it has helped me look at, okay, what do I want from my customers? What do I want from prospects? What do I want from each and every group? And by doing that, I can look at, okay, these customers, I have guaranteed revenue. I have I can get referrals from customers. I can look at all pieces, and really in that leverage side, a line I heard from one of a CEO that I used to work for, a great line. He said, and hopefully this won't be taken wrong, but he said, Bill, the absolute worst business is when you have to get new business every single month.
Oh, yeah.
You know, where you're finding business and you start at zero every month. And that's what we have tried to stay away from, where every month I know I have some guaranteed revenue, but at the same time, I know people are looking for my leads, or people are looking for what I do and how I can help them.
Yeah.
And at the same time, and then I'm reaching out to other people. So I don't have everything in one basket.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you for sharing. The next up is Q&A. And if you want, you can type into the chat box if you have any questions that are burning questions. Go ahead and type them into the box, and I will relay them on to Bill. It is moderated, so if you are swearing at us or anything like that, it might not make it on. But I've got questions that I came up with. One of the things that you'd thrown out there was that it helps create better customers. Why would you say that? Why does it help you create better customers?
Well, let me try to answer that first. First, we have to define what a better customer is. And we did this exercise once here at Goads, which I found incredibly fascinating. And I kind of knew it'd go this way, but it was really eye-opening. I to my sales team, I said, okay, let's describe our best customers. And let's just whiteboard this thing. Give me adjectives. So let's throw out adjectives of who our best customers are. Right? And no kidding, we filled up a whiteboard. I mean, we have a big whiteboard. We filled it up with every type of adjective. And what was amazing is it had nothing to do with money. It had nothing to do with financial. It had everything to do with open, honest, good person, works with me, takes my call. Yeah. You know, all these things that.
Do you have a list for that?
Yes, I have a photo of the whiteboard.
No, I mean a list. Can I buy a list? That's like,
oh, right.
Want to work with people who like me.
But that was incredibly. Only until the very end, somebody spoke up and said, "Well, I do like it when they pay. I do like So, but it was towards the very end, and so that's the first thing. You have to define how you want to define your best customers, and then okay. And just as you said, Greg, it's okay. How do I find those people? Can I mimic them somehow? Can I describe them in a way? And is there data out there? Is there something out there that I can? Okay, man, I can super target this.
Yeah.
And sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't, and sometimes it just takes time. And it's the Jack Welch too. That sometimes it's not only employees but also sometimes customers. You have to let some customers go, just because it's maybe your margin's high, maybe your margin's low, maybe it's just. Gosh, this relationship just isn't worth it. I mean, but it really was eye-opening for all of us in that exercise of, yeah, this is what we kind of want out of a customer, out of a relationship.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. It's good stuff. And then
this is the point where I wanted to introduce you to the assessments that Bill introduced us to. And in those, Bill suggests that we take this self-assessment, use this on your company, and do it in 2 steps. The first step is to take a look at where you are today and rank yourself on a scale, inbound, outreach, and leverage, as to where you think you are. 1 being not so great, 5 being, I don't know how we can be any better. And the follow-up is to do that with a date. So set yourself 12 months, 24 months in the future, and where is it that you want your company to be? After that, Bill introduced us to the Goads Growth Score, which you'll see a link at the bottom of the page, and actually it's clickable from this YouTube video. So you can click on there, and that will give you a couple different dimensions of growth. Specifically, it will talk about the structure, whether your company is structured for growth, and then whether you have, or where you are on your temperament for growth. And that's the presentation that Bill gave us on maximizing results. If you have any questions, his contact information is there on the screen. Feel free to give him a call or send an email to that email address. Thank you.